Welcome to the Midnight Files channel. On the morning of December 1st, 1948, two people walking along Somerton Beach in Adelaide, Australia, discovered the body of a man lying against a seawall. He was well dressed in a suit and tie, lying, with his head resting on the concrete, legs extended and feet crossed. At first glance, he appeared to be simply sleeping, but he was dead. This discovery would launch one of the most perplexing unsolved mysteries in Australian history, a case so strange that it continues to baffle investigators more than 75 years later. The man has never been definitively identified. The cause of his death remains officially undetermined, and the circumstances surrounding his presence on that beach are shrouded in mystery. The body was discovered around 6:30 in the morning. Police arrived and began their investigation, initially assuming this would be a straightforward case of natural death, or perhaps suicide. However, it quickly became apparent that nothing about this case would be straightforward. The man appeared to be in his mid-40s, approximately 5 feet 11 inches tall, in good physical condition, with no identification documents of any kind. More unusual still, all the labels had been removed from his clothing, every single one. This seemed deliberately done to prevent identification. The autopsy revealed several perplexing findings. The pathologist noted that the man's internal organs showed signs consistent with poisoning. His spleen was significantly enlarged, and there was congestion in his stomach, with blood present in the stomach contents. However, toxicology tests available in 1948 failed to identify any known poison. The pathologist concluded that death was likely due to poisoning by an unknown substance, possibly a rare poison or one that rapidly degraded and couldn't be detected by the chemical tests of that era. Several physical details about the man were noted. His calf muscles were unusually well developed, suggesting he might have been a ballet dancer, a runner, or someone who spent considerable time standing on his toes. His hands showed no calluses, indicating he hadn't performed manual labor. His teeth showed evidence of professional dental care. All these details suggested someone of at least middle-class background, yet despite widespread publicity, no one reported him missing, and no identification could be found. The investigation revealed curious items in the man's pockets. There was an unused second-class rail ticket from Adelaide to Henley Beach, an American-made aluminum comb of a type not commonly sold in Australia, a half-empty packet of chewing gum, and a box of matches. What wasn't found was equally significant. No wallet, no money, no identification, and no key. The rail ticket suggested he had traveled to the area, but where he came from remained unknown. The case took its most bizarre turn several months after the body's discovery. Investigators found a small pocket sewn into the waistband of the man's trousers, hidden behind a regular pocket. This was actually a fob pocket designed to hold a watch. Inside was a tiny piece of paper, tightly rolled up. When unfolded, it contained 2 words, printed in an elaborate script: Tamam Shud. These words were in Persian and translate roughly to ended or finished. Police recognized the phrase as coming from the final page of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, a collection of 12th century Persian poetry translated into English by Edward Fitzgerald. The theme of the Rubaiyat centers on living life to the fullest and having no regrets when it ends. This discovery led to a public appeal. Police asked if anyone had a copy of the Rubaiyat with the final page torn out. Remarkably, someone came forward. A man reported finding a copy of the book in the back seat of his unlocked car, which had been parked near Somerton Beach around the time the unknown man died. The book was a rare edition. The final page had indeed been torn out, and microscopic examination confirmed it matched the piece found in the dead man's pocket. The book itself contained additional mysteries. On the back cover, someone had written what appeared to be a code, 5 lines of seemingly random capital letters. The code has never been definitively solved, though countless amateur and professional cryptographers have attempted to crack it over the decades. Some researchers believe it might be an abbreviated message using the first letters of words from a sentence or poem. Others think it could be a more complex cipher. Still others wonder if it's simply random letters with no meaning at all. Also written in the book was a phone number. Police traced it to a woman living near the beach. She was a young woman who became known in early reports by the name Jestin, though she has since been publicly identified as Jessica Ellen Thomson, formerly Jessica Harkness. When questioned, she admitted she had given a copy of the Rubaiyat to a man she knew. During World War II, an Army lieutenant named Alfred Boxall. Police were briefly excited, thinking they had solved the mystery. However, when they located Boxall in Sydney, they found him alive and well, and his copy of the Rubaiyat was intact, with the final page still in place. Thomson stated she had never seen the dead man before and couldn't explain how her phone number ended up in a book found near his body. However, witnesses reported seeing a man matching the deceased's description in the area where she lived shortly before his death. Theories about the case have multiplied over the decades. One persistent theory suggests the man was a spy possibly involved in Cold War espionage. The year 1948 marked the beginning of the Cold War, and the unusual circumstances, the removed labels, the possible code, the untraceable poison could fit a pattern, suggesting intelligence work. However, no evidence has ever emerged to definitively support this theory. Another theory proposes the man was involved in smuggling or other illegal activities and was murdered by associates. The deliberate removal of identifying information and the possible use of an untraceable poison could support this interpretation. Yet again, no concrete evidence links the unknown man to any criminal enterprise. Some researchers have focused on a possible romantic connection, suggesting the man might have been involved with the woman whose phone number appeared in the book. This might explain his presence near her home. However, she denied knowing him, and without definitive proof, this remains speculation. Whether the man was murdered or took his own life has never been resolved. The poisoning appears deliberate, but whether it was self-administered or forced upon him cannot be determined. The relaxed position of his body suggested he might have simply lain down and lost consciousness, which could fit either scenario. Over the years, numerous attempts were made to identify the unknown man. His facial features were distinctive enough that a plaster cast was made of his face, and photographs were widely circulated. His fingerprints were shared with authorities around the world. Despite this extensive effort, no match was ever found. In 2009, researchers obtained permission to examine the body, which had been buried in Adelaide. They collected hair samples and extracted DNA. While this DNA was analyzed, it didn't immediately lead to identification because there was no match in existing databases. The case remained in this state of limbo until 2022, when researcher Derek Abbott, a professor at the University of Adelaide, announced a major development. Abbott had studied the case for years, working with American genealogist Colleen Fitzpatrick. He used DNA analysis combined with genealogical research techniques, similar to those that helped identify the Golden State Killer. Abbott announced the Somerton Man was Carl Webb, also known as Charles Webb, an electrical engineer and instrument maker, born in Melbourne in 1905. According to Abbott's research, Webb was born in Footscray, a suburb of Melbourne, on November 16, 1905. He married Dorothy Jean Robertson in 1941. The last official record of Webb dates to April 1947, when he left his wife. In 1951, 3 years after the Somerton Man's death, Dorothy filed for divorce on grounds of desertion. She had moved to Butte, South Australia, approximately 90 miles from Adelaide. Abbott theorized that Webb might have traveled to Adelaide in December 1948, searching for his estranged wife. However, this identification has not been officially verified by South Australia Police or Forensic Science South Australia. As of the present day, authorities have not confirmed Abbott's findings. The South Australia Police stated they were cautiously optimistic the identification might provide a breakthrough, but they have not made an official determination. This means that while Abbott's research appears compelling, it has not been legally or officially confirmed by the investigating authorities. Questions remain even if the identification is accurate. Why was Webb in Adelaide? How exactly did he die? What substance poisoned him? What does the code in the book mean? Was the code even created by Webb, or was it written by someone else? What was his connection, if any, to Jessica Thomson? These questions persist regardless of the identity question. The case demonstrates how a mystery can endure even in an era of advanced forensic technology. The Somerton Man case has inspired countless books, documentaries, theories, and endless speculation. It represents one of those rare situations where almost every answer leads to more questions. The phrase Tamam Shud or finished seems grimly appropriate for a case that appeared to end before it could truly begin. A man died on a beach in 1948, and despite more than 7 decades of investigation, the most basic questions about who he was and what happened to him remain either unanswered or unconfirmed by authorities. Whether the mysteries surrounding the Somerton Man will ever be conclusively solved remains an open question. The man took his secrets to his grave, and those secrets have proven remarkably resistant to discovery. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.